Welcome back to Harbor. We got some good news tonight. The oil slick on the Gulf surface down there is dissipating more quickly than expected. It's evaporating, apparently, much faster than expected. And you can see where the oil has gone in a series of maps made by the New York Times. There they are, by the New York Times. On June 16th, BP had started a second containment system. By July 1st, strong winds had pushed the oil into marshlands and coastlines. And just 2 days ago, oil has been broken up into smaller patches. So does this mean the days of oil washing ashore are coming to a close? And is it a positive indicator of what's going on below the water surface, which is a big question? Ed Overton's an environmental science professor at Louisiana State University, LSU. And John Hofmeister, my friend, was president of Shell Oil. Let me start with the professor. What are your signs? What evidence do you have to draw on as to how bad the long-term environmental or conservation damage is going to be here as of now?
Well, Chris, we're still in the middle of this spill, so we don't know for sure how long it's going to last and the total environmental damage, and we won't know for a while. But it's certainly good news that the visible oil is removed from the surface. I think the oil, the Gulf area has been acclimated for 87 days. Has really been degrading bacteria. The bacteria have been degrading the oil. All of a sudden, there's no new oil out there, so those bacteria are looking around for supper, and they find the oil that is there and are rapidly degrading what's left of the residual oil.
So maybe our planet's going to save our planet, in other words. The way things work ecologically is going to help us.
Absolutely. This is Mother Nature's scheme of things. We've overloaded the scheme of things with 30 to 60,000 barrels of oil each day. Now that's not happening, and the natural processes are taking shape. I hope they're going to remove the oil. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be some additional impacts coming on shore, but the frequency and the magnitude will dramatically reduce over the next several days and several weeks.
Let me go to John Hofmeister on the legal question. I am impressed that on the front page of the Washington Post this morning, I read that the Obama administration may be having a tricky day on immigration, which I do believe they may have stepped in something. On this, I think they may be smart. It's called the BP Squad. It's made up of people from the FBI, the Coast Guard, the EPA, all working to see if there's possible criminality in the decisions which were made by management, whether bribes were taken or given to MMS, the administering agency within Interior. What's your sense of the prospects of finding a crime beneath this spill? John?
I've said from day one, Chris, that we really have to find out the truth wherever it takes us. However ugly, however embarrassing, however awful that truth may be, we've got to get to the truth so we don't let it happen again. I still believe that these were individuals who were making poor judgments, bad judgments, incompetent judgments. I really have some reservations with what I know at this point, only reading the papers and hearing the news reports, that it has bordered into criminality. But then I'm not a lawyer. I think it's perhaps a good show to put on a great force down in New Orleans. But whether they will ever find any criminal behavior, it's a long way from here to there, in my opinion.
Well, what is your value judgment? I have one. I think if somebody makes a deliberate business decision to cost our planet in order to make money, they ought to be punished, and criminally. It is a criminal thing to hurt this planet. I don't want to sound like too much of a tree hugger, but I am, like everybody ought to be, on this simple question. If somebody has to make a decision and they say put in seawater instead of drilling mud because it's cheaper, but they know there's a better chance that well's going to blow, that's a bad decision, and a bad person made it. Now, they may have made it with pressure from above for profit or timetable, but what's your view of that? You're the expert.
Well, we have to find out exactly who decided what on what conditions.
Why are they hiding this from us? Why don't we know now after all these months as to who made these decisions? Why wouldn't BP tell us?
There are a couple individuals that have taken the Fifth Amendment, as I understand it. And so they have that constitutional right. I think they could shed a lot of light on this, but they have to be willing to do it. I think that the investigation will be pursued. I hope it's pursued to the nth degree, because they've tarnished the entire industry, Chris, which operates safely and effectively for decades. And this really has to come. But unfortunately, we may be in court for years. This could well become, daytime TV for years out into the future. Yeah. And if it's a criminal case, you can be sure it'll last for a very long time.
Let me go to Professor Overton. This whole question about social costs, where a company or a management makes a deliberate decision to pass costs on to the public, in this case to the devastation of the Gulf of Mexico, to make more money. What is your view about that in terms of criminality?
Well, Chris, there's a big difference between a criminal act and a stupid act, and you know, I'm not a lawyer either, but it looks to me like this was stupid rather than necessarily criminal. I mean, if laws are in place on the books, they may well be. I don't know about that, but clearly, I think as we go forward, we might tighten up the regulations such that when you take reckless acts that have consequences like a spill of this magnitude, people ought to think twice before making reckless decisions.
Let's take a look at Tony Hayward's parting words. Here's the guy that was head of BP, the British fellow that went off to the yachting race. Of course, he was too busy to do what he had to do. He went off catching the yachting, one of the worst PR decisions in history. That isn't criminal. It's just stupid. In that case, quote, I like this because this is the best part of the Brits. Whether it is fair or unfair is not the point. I became the public face of the disaster and was demonized and vilified. BP cannot move on in the U.S. with me as its leader. Sometimes you step off the pavement and get hit by a bus. Did I make mistakes? Of course I did. But would I have changed fundamentally what BP did and the role I played in it? I think the answer is no. Very British, John Hofmeister. I like that, though, about the British. When something goes wrong in British cabinet or British government, somebody says, I'm out of here, I resign, I'm back to my club, they have a couple drinks, and it's over. But you don't have to look at the guy anymore. Your thoughts about this? Is this the best of the British? They leave?
Well, I think he's speaking from the safety of the cocoon of the UK, where BP is viewed very differently than it is here in the U.S. And I think, you know, there are many things he did fine, just fine as a CEO. Yeah. But Americans will never forgive or forget what happened in that Gulf of Mexico, also on the heels of Texas City, also on the heels of the Arctic pipeline burst. Right. So there's a whole record here that the Americans really have had to live with, which the British have not.
I just don't want to read someday in the paper on the British honors list that he's Lord Hayward. You know, as Churchill, my hero, once said, I want to see fewer peerages and more disappearages.
Day 100 of the Gulf oil disaster. NOAA scientists today say that the slick is dissolving more quickly than we expected, raising questions, though, about just how and when the government will begin scaling back its disaster response. But the effect on...
File this under headlines with double meanings. From the Washington Post, quote, oil in Gulf is degrading, becoming harder to find, NOAA head says. Its intended meaning is that 100 days into BP's Deepwater Horizon disaster, much of the oil is at least off the surface of the water, because a lot of the oil is deteriorating.